Hey, Porter, you excited for a Halloween episode? Porter? Porter? Porter?
Porter is a ghost, left home alone. Talking hoops, the best show yet. Spider sound off, spider sound off, spider
Welcome,
sound
everybody,
off.
to another episode of Spider Sound Off. We have a jam-packed show today with multiple guests, scrimmages of both teams to discuss, and also plenty of time to make fun of Porter. Porter, who is on vacation, entrusted me with figuring out our last October episode. And where is Porter? France. He's also there with two other spider couples. Seen some pictures. It looks cold but beautiful. Well, what did he miss? Well, the first thing he missed was our open women's scrimmage or exhibition. That was against Norfolk State about a week ago. Just going to do some highlights. It's been a week now. There's been a lot written about it if you know where to look, but just want to give you some insights as we head into their first regular season game in about a week. Starters were to be expected, the big three, of course, Maggie, Rachel, and Allie, but also joining them were Sam and Peyton as starters. Sam playing the 5 and Peyton as a wing. I expect the same starting lineup opening night. I think they look pretty effective. You can tell they were really comfortable playing with each other. Other things to note, Rachel actually had a rough shooting night, and that was following our episode. Hopefully that is not a Spider Sound Off curse. Although it may be why Porter was deported to France. And other more exciting news, Ava Persichetti came off the bench, hit 2 threes within just a couple of minutes. She looked great. She will be an important part to the success of this team this year, whether she's coming right off the bench or she the 7th or 8th player. She's going to get a lot of minutes. Maggie was Maggie. There was some point in the second period where I think she scored 7 points in a row and pretty much took over. My only Maggie complaint, and I remember this from last year too, like she plays so hard. She gets beat up a lot. Like she was on the floor probably 3 or 4 times, getting fouled a lot. I mean, it is part of her game. I don't want her to stop that, but it does get me a little nervous that we're in a scrimmage and seeing her getting beat up so much. Other notes, Alicia Newell, one of Porter's favorites. She was a defensive menace in that game. I think right when she came off the bench, first time down the court, the other team had the ball. She just picked their pocket. At a minimum, she will be that defensive stopper for us this year when there are guards on the other team that we need someone to just get in their face. Hopefully, she can continue to develop on the offensive end. There was a really nice moment where Allie and Alicia played together. I think they even started the second half together. There was this great play on a other team missed a shot. I don't know if Allie got the rebound or it quickly got into her hands. She saw Alicia sprinting down the court, did a full length pass to Alicia, who just took it right for an easy layup. So that was exciting. So hopefully we see a lot more of that. And 2 other just kind of tidbits of, stars you don't hear about. So freshman Shanika Campbell. She got a lot of minutes in both halves. She's big, tall, very athletic, runs up and down the court, super fast. She's come a really long way, I think, since Porter and I saw her a couple months ago. She ran the floor with confidence. She was aggressive and really tenacious inside. She also hit a 3, which was great to see. So I think as she can develop her outside shot, she can be a great player for us this year and in the future. And I'd say the highlight of the night was when local star Rain Wright hit a 3, got fouled, and there was a row of, I don't know, about 10 people that just went crazy. So she had her home fan section. They went nuts. She did finish the 4-point play, although that was thanks to a lane violation. So it was an exciting game. I think the team looked good. They're still naturally trying to figure out, who is going to be the new Addie and Katie in the lineups, kind of another wing and the 5. But I think what I like is that I think we're pretty deep at those positions. So there's a lot of there may be more rotating or more minutes passed into those positions than last year. As Katie and Addie played a lot of minutes for us. So, but I can see us being very successful with lots of players helping out in those positions versus having to rely on, one replacement for each. So anyway, so that's the latest on the women's team. Again, their first home game is coming up, and definitely excited to be there and see them do it in a real game. Well, before we start talking about the scrimmage against James Madison University, just want to remind you to follow, like, or subscribe to our podcast. Really have two reasons for that. First off, Porter, even while in France, looks at our data about 5 times a day. And so please, for his and my sanity, follow, like, or subscribe. Second, this actually helps you. Instead of searching for us, your listening platform would deliver it to you. So make finding us easier. You won't regret it. All right. Well, hey, everybody, we're going to talk about the JMU scrimmage from Saturday, the 25th, or I guess it's officially an exhibition. We have a special guest today, an old friend of mine and season ticket holder, Rob. Rob, welcome to Spider Sound Off.
Thank you, Tom. It's a pleasure to be here and to try to fill the enormous shoes of one Porter Shomo.
Yes, it's hard to do. The first question, it's really probably the most important one. What was it like sitting next to a credentialed member of the media for the first time at a Spiders game? Was you nervous? How did that make you feel?
They ran the whole gamut of emotions for me. I was afraid. I was elated. I was petrified. Just everything you could imagine sitting in your august company with your very shiny, fancy media credential badge.
Oh, yes, probably you feel a lot of those emotions right now too, I'm guessing.
Indeed.
Okay, so for those who don't know, we beat JMU in the exhibition 63-58. Starting lineup was Tyne, Waltz, Johnson, AJ Lopez, and Tanner. AP was in street clothes. I heard he tweaked something, but it should be okay. So still questions on what the day one lineup will be, as Porter and I have a running bet on that. Rob, what were your kind of initial impressions of the team for the first time this year?
So that lineup you mentioned, other than Walls, is very short, I would say. Not very physically imposing. And I think that that became evident pretty quickly in the first half. JMU was able to get the ball inside the paint pretty easily, had several offensive rebounds where our guys were sort of powerless to stop them. So that was my first initial impression, was just that particular lineup where, Colin Tanner is essentially your power forward, I guess, in that lineup is, it seems like you're going to give up a lot on defense to try to, and you got to score a lot on offense to make that up.
Now, we did have a nice surprise coming off the bench in terms of scoring. Jalen Robinson, what was your impression of him?
Yeah, I think of all the guys who I hadn't seen in a Spider uniform, was the flashed the most. Looks like he's got a super athletic kid. Knew where he was supposed to go, knew what he was supposed to do inside the offense, which, as a redshirt freshman, you hope they pick that up in the year where they're not in games, but they're certainly practicing. And you could tell that, he knew where to be and what to do. And, had a couple nice dunks, which we don't always see. And not breakaway dunks, just,
Yes,
grab a rebound and put it back up and dunk it. So that
he had one on a free throw, right? Like, we were shooting the free throw, we missed it, and he was the first in there and dunked it. It was pretty nice.
Yeah. So he definitely showed up and was sort of the most impressive newbie, if you will, in a Spider uniform.
Yeah, and the one thing we had going for us is that JMU could not shoot from outside. Like, it was pretty brutal. I think the stats say they were 5 for 28 from 3, and give our defense some credit, but JMU seemed to miss a lot of open looks in that game.
Yeah, and it's a scrimmage for them too, so I don't know what they were trying to work on, but in the first half, they were having a lot of success pounding the ball down low, scoring close to the basket, getting offensive rebounds, and it seemed like in the second half they went away from that a little bit. Um, the rebounding margin at halftime, I think we were down maybe 8 or 10 rebounds at a half, and it um, tightened up. The rebounding margin got better in our favor in the second half, but I didn't sense that was because we were making a renewed emphasis on rebounding. I just think JMU kind of went away from that pounded inside program in the second half, probably to their detriment. But their coach could have been trying to work on other things.
Yeah, yeah, it's hard to tell. I mean, I was pleasantly surprised to see, like Beagle was pretty active out there, so him and Waltz kind of split time. And we probably played 5 or 6 minutes with neither of them on the court. So talk about small. I think when we had kind of Robinson or Daughtry as our big, but Beagle was pretty aggressive in there, so that was good to see.
Yeah, I agree. I like Beagle. I don't think he's at quite as. It doesn't give you everything that Walls does. He certainly is not the kind of presence around the rim that Walls is, but I think he can do 80% of what Walls does. So it was good to see him more aggressive and trying to get his own shot a little bit.
Yeah, and one thing, it's easy to be critical on an exhibition, but let's point out, like JMU is the preseason favorite to win the Sun Belt. Now they have lots of new players. I think they have 13 total new players on their roster, so they're trying to figure a lot out early on. But as you said, they're kind of they were bigger than us, and not just in height. Like they had some bulk inside. They won 20 games last year, so let's not forget we won the scrimmage. Mooney was certainly playing to win, and this is our last chance to have kind of that game-like environment with another team before our first regular season game. So I'm glad to see he was playing to win. What did you think, if the fans don't know, when the game was over and they announced it in the last few minutes that there was going to be a bonus 10 minutes at the end of the game and both teams cleared out their benches? I think of those 10 minutes as 10 minutes I'm never going to get back. Um, Rob, what did you think of those that extra 10-minute period?
I think the less that's spoken of the extra 10 minutes is probably for the best. There were some guys, we played basically all of the guys who hadn't gotten into the regular game played in that last 10-minute span. So I'm sure that's what it was designed for, is, we want to give these kids some run, in a sort of game-like setting. The refs stayed and they called fouls during the 10 minutes. So I'm sure that was all useful for those guys, but I didn't see a lot from those players in that 10 minutes to think that those guys are going to be competing for minutes in the regular rotation.
Rob, true or false that the best intramural team you ever played on could have won that last 10 minutes segment?
It's probably false. If I was on the team, they probably had no chance to compete. So if I could coach the intramural team, maybe, but if I have to play, no.
Got it. Any kind of outside of the game, how was your experience at the somewhat new and improved Robin Center?
I remarked to you during the game, there were actually more people there than I thought there would be. I think this is the first maybe exhibition game they've had, or the first one in quite a long time. So I was kind of you didn't have any expectation that figured there might be 100 people there, but there was probably 1,500, maybe 2,000 people in the building. So I think that was, that bodes well for hopefully lots of people coming out to the Robin Center to watch the team, and we're going to have a lot of home games. I think we might have the most home games ever on our schedule this year.
Yeah, that's right.
I think I heard that somewhere. So it's going to be lots of games for people to come out and see. The new video boards I thought looked good. They were some of the camera angles were a little odd, but um, I like the fact that different boards showed different stats, so you could kind of get a different picture of the game from the stats on the boards. And there's a on the in front of where the announcers sit. We were facing that side, so there's now a score bug down there at court level, which I thought was uh was good, and is you can, since you're looking that way anyways, you can look at that one sometimes more easily than you can the main scoreboard in the sky. I've heard we have new and improved concessions. I didn't try any of them, so I can't report that, but I did see something from the university saying they're taking steps to beef up the concessions of the game, which is always nice as well.
You think it's going to be like lobster and filet mignon? Is that what you're hoping for?
I don't think it'll be quite that fancy, but anything is better than the Papa John's pizza.
Well, Rob, I appreciate you joining. Do you have any predictions for the Spiders this season? As I guess game one's a little over a week away. You have any? We're going to win 20 or going to the tournament. What seed are we going to get? Like, what are you thinking going into the season?
I think there's talent on the roster. I will say that we didn't. Will Johnston played a lot. He didn't shoot it well, but he can certainly, from what you guys have said from the practice reports, seems like he's got a good outside shot. AJ Lopez is not afraid to shoot. I think he's gonna do a lot of the offensive heavy lifting in the beginning. It seemed. His shot is kind of hit or miss, at least in the scrimmage it was, but he's not afraid. I think Wall's only had 3 points. We're certainly going to need more than that. I'm not sure he shot more than once or twice. And it's a scrimmage, so he might have been told, "Hey, we don't need you to worry about getting your points tonight. Just worry about other things." But he'll certainly have to do more on the offensive end. The defense is what would probably concern me the most. Just having seen that scrimmage, but I'm sure we weren't running everything we will run on defense wise during the season, and when those personnel matchups won't be the same either. So if prediction wise, we have the out of conference schedule is pretty soft. So, if we don't go into A10 play with at least 10 wins, I would think that will mean things are off to a pretty bad start. But if we could get 10 wins in the out of conference, go 500 in conference, make it to the top half, that would seem to be a realistic expectation for what I saw.
What I'm hopeful of, what was a little bit of a surprise, is that Jaden Daughtry, who's coming off a heart concern and months off from practice. I mean, he played, I think, over 15 minutes. So we didn't see a lot from him, but just getting the minutes in told me that he can be a contributor a lot quicker than expected. So hopefully kind of he's an addition that, is still coming back, but has, a lot of potential, and he's an inside body. If him and Robinson can be that power forward with, Beagle or Walls, I get a little less worried. But I think, like you said, that if the starting lineup is, in a sense, 4 guards and a center, that could be trouble. Well, anyway, Rob, thank you for joining. I think Porter needs to work on his resume a little bit, but hope he'll travel home safe, and maybe sometime later this season, depending on how it goes, kind of bring you back. You can, when we have some real games, give us some of your hot takes.
I'm happy to join anytime you need cogent analysis that Porter can't provide.
Yeah, no doubt. Thanks, Rob. Well, I've got a new segment that Porter is going to hate. It is called What's Wrong with You People?
What's wrong with you people? Turn that frown upside down. Or at least don't be a moron. What's wrong with you people? What's wrong with you people?
Okay, people, you can criticize the administration, Coach Mooney, as much as you want with grounded information. And you know what? We will do the same as this season unfolds. And it's, if you want to talk about last year's results, the upcoming out of conference schedule, lots of grounded things to complain and debate. But what we don't need are made up box scores for secret scrimmages to then complain. Also, a surprising complaint about in a game where the coach knows he's 10 bonus minutes at the end to play his developing players, a fan or maybe multiple fans criticizing that he played to win and that he didn't play in regulation players that, if you watch, are clearly not ready to be core contributors of this unit. Now, maybe they'll be ready in a month. Maybe they'll be ready in 2 weeks, but they weren't ready against JMU. And so let's turn that frown upside down. The season's about to start. Let's have some optimism. We're 0-5. We're going to be pretty critical here, I promise you. But like I said,
What's wrong with you people? Turn that frown upside down. Or at least don't be a moron. What's wrong with you people? What's wrong with you people?
okay, I got that off my chest. Now let's move on. I'm going to share with you a pre-recorded interview with Francis Reimers to learn more about the For the Culture Holiday Classic coming up this holiday season featuring the Richmond Women's Spiders basketball team. Hey, everybody. I want to introduce Francis Reimers, who is the founder and CEO of Firestarter and is a co-founder of the For the Culture Holiday Classic that the Richmond Spiders women's team is playing in December. So, Francis, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So tell me a little bit about Firestarter, and then we can get into, how you got involved in helping create this new tournament.
So Firestarter is a company that I founded about 9 years ago. And every day I work with high school, college, and professional athletes to help them create, grow, manage, and protect their personal brands. So my firm is a full turnkey company where we provide marketing, PR, sponsorship, merchandising, event services, philanthropic development. Pretty much I tell people the quick and easy is anything their name or face touches, my firm can help them produce it.
And obviously a lot has changed in the last 5 years in college sports or with the kind of athletes in general. I guess you went from a branding expert to eventually an NIL expert. Kind of how did that come to pass?
Yeah. So before NIL was even in people's minds, athletic programs around the country would reach out to me to come in and talk to student athletes about how to manage their brand online, particularly through social media, give them the do's, the don'ts, basically not to do anything that would bring any heat upon themselves or upon the athletic department. And as this conversation around NIL really started to firm up, people were reaching out to me to be an SME around what this could look like, what this would look like for athletic departments, what it would look like for athletes, what it would look like for brands. And then in 2021, when this thought really did become a reality, I was being brought in by athletic departments to consult around how to structure these programs. I was talking with agents about how to educate their clients and how to engage with athletic programs and athletes themselves about what this meant for them and their parents and how to navigate these conversations as they move forward. And then not too soon after, collectives started to form and come online. And so I did a lot of consulting around that and was one of the founding staff of Alliance 412, which is a collective at the University of Pittsburgh. And then fast forward to present day, I'm now with Cab Futures, which was the collective, but is now the marketing agency for all UVA student athletes. So I've seen every side of this conversation as it has evolved.
And with the House settlement, kind of how have things changed for that world, in the last, I guess, 6 months or so? I mean, I guess it was
Yeah, it's just been a
officially as
couple
of
of
July
months.
1st,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
So the House settlement allows athletic departments to have revenue share, and every school is handling this differently. Some schools are divvying out their profits to revenue sharing sports first, and then on down the line from there. Some schools are only sharing with revenue sports. Some schools are not sharing at all, or still trying to work through how they can share that with athletes. And so it really does vary school by school, program by program about how that is. But at some schools, student athletes are truly getting a share of revenue, which is over and above compensating them for the use of their name, image, and likeness.
What's been your experience? I know one of the changes, and there's, I haven't heard of any scuttlebutt in the last month, but I know early on there was some about the whole clearinghouse, and sending NIL deals through the clearinghouse to get, I guess, stamped approved or denied. Like, have you been able to go through that process? Is it chaos? Is it working okay? What has that been like?
I have personally gone through the process and it was relatively painless, but to be completely honest, the deal was very benign. It was something that, could easily, all the T's and all the I's, the T's were crossed, the I's were dotted. So there was no anticipation of there being any issue. But I have heard of people having some problems. Um, I think it's going to be one of these things, the organization is a consulting agency that is not related to the sports world. They're really not in the throes day in, day out of creating these deals, managing all of the people and players on all sides. So nor do they have the staff in-house with that experience, or by and large with that experience. So I do believe that when large amounts of deals start rolling through, there's certain to be issues, but me personally, I haven't had issues to date.
Okay, so you've built all these connections over your career, and that led you to helping create this new tournament at the Henrico Center. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so the For the Culture Holiday Hoops Classic is taking place at the Henrico Sports and Event Center December 19th through the 21st. This is a Division One women's basketball showcase that is bringing your Lady Spiders, and along with VCU, Penn State, Georgia, Alabama A&M, and Coppin State for 3 days of what I'm sure to be fantastic basketball. And I was brought into the fold by John Tate, who in Pennsylvania women's AAU circles is a bit of a godfather. And he and his wife recently relocated down to Richmond. And so when he reached out to me and said, I think I'm going to take things to the Division One level and do a women's showcase, you in? I said, absolutely. Let's roll. And it's been a lot of fun putting this event together. And I'm really super excited to see all of these ladies come out and show us what they've got.
So I'm curious, kind of just how all of this works logistically. So obviously, Henrico has this, relatively new facility. Um, like, I guess, what was the process of figuring out where it goes, to finding refs, to finding the teams, like all of that? I think what folks take for granted when they, hand over their ticket and take a seat. There's a lot of details that have to be figured out. Like, tell me what that was like.
Yeah, so a lot of the logistic stuffs like refs and talking to the teams and that sort of piece was well handled by John and our other co-producer Sasha Palmer, who's based out of Atlanta. John and Sasha have the connections with the teams, the refs, all of that. So those were relatively easy through their personal networks. Those are relatively easy conversations for them to make. And then the fact that John is in Richmond and I'm located in Alexandria, Richmond, and its new facility and the amazing accommodating staff that we've worked with there made the decision of having the event in Richmond a pretty easy one for us to make. We could have gone to other cities, Phoenix, Tampa, Vegas. These are all cities that are well suited for an event of this size. But we felt Richmond was a great place to go, centrally located for all of us, a good economy, interested community, great teams right there with Richmond and VCU. It felt like a no-brainer. So relatively in terms of events that I've been a part of over the years of my 25 plus year career, this one came together pretty quickly. And as we go along, we've already signed a contract bringing us back to the sport, Henrico, for the event again next year, which is great. But the business community has really engaged, which is fantastic. That's what we want, and made the decision to stay easy. But in events that I've done in past years, this one has come together pretty seamlessly, which says a lot about the people and their networks in the city and what they're willing to do to help make this event successful.
I'm curious, like when, maybe go back, like how long ago did this whole process start? Like when did the idea get, I guess, did John reach out to you and say, hey, let's try to do this? Like how long ago was that?
Yeah, so he reached out to me in late January 2025. And we really started putting real pen to paper in early February, and it pretty much took off from there. So just a couple of months to get up and working. The really, truly, the biggest challenge was sponsor outreach. Just because of money cycles and budget cycles, that has been the biggest challenge of this event. Everything else has kind of fallen into place relatively quickly. But if you don't hit sponsor windows at the right time, or if people don't know about the event or who you are, that does make getting those sponsor dollars in the door a bit challenging. But other than that, everything else came together relatively pretty quickly.
It helped me some. I'm a finance guy at heart. Like when it comes to sponsors, like are schools getting paid to come, or is the sponsors helping really, um, since you don't have kind of guaranteed ticket sales to kind of make sure you've got like a minimum to pay for officials, pay Henrico.
Right.
Tell me how the sponsorship dollars work.
So for an event like this, because it is a showcase and we are not, we are not housed within any conference, any school. It depends on the relationship we have with the school. For something like this, some schools pay to participate. Some schools, we cover their expenses to participate, and I won't get in the details of who
Yeah.
qualifies for what. So some revenue comes from schools wanting to participate in the event. The other line of income comes from ticket sales. So getting people in the seats and making sure that every game is nice and sold out is extremely important to us at this stage of the game. And then the other piece of the puzzle is sponsorships or partnerships that we put together. So the sponsors that we have on our website right now, we are incredibly grateful for them and their dollars that they are bringing in. The in-kind partnerships that we've been able to develop with some of our vendors, those are incredibly important because anything obviously that takes off the bottom line helps us, helps prepare us for the following year, and to be blunt, helps us determine if we stay in a city or we go and move on to another location where maybe we might get a better financial um, relationship established. And so all of those dollars coming in for an event like this is extremely important.
Yeah, it's interesting too because as hot as women's basketball is, um, you're still challenged on like how much are fans gonna um, travel with their team. And now obviously you got Richmond and VCU, so that makes it a little easier for those schools. But I can imagine with even Penn State and Georgia, big universities with big alumni bases, trying to estimate how much are their fans going to travel versus how much do you need to generate business from just local fans. There's got to be some guesswork in that.
Bit. I mean, also, we take into account, are there young women on the team that are from the Richmond area or the DC metro area? Penn State has a very large alumni base up and down the I-95 corridor. And so we took that into consideration. Also, Coppin is in Baltimore, which isn't too terribly far away. And so they, along with their alumni base up and down the I-95 corridor, is something that we took into factor. Yes, women's basketball is white hot, and that has certainly helped with sponsorship. But another thing that people in the sponsorship game, a piece that people often forget about. Yes, women's basketball is white hot, but the market needs to matter to the sponsor. Yes, being associated with women's basketball is incredibly important for an event like this, but the sponsor is also looking about the overall market that the event is in. Is Richmond a good market for that particular sponsor? And so that's another element that we had to take into consideration when deciding where to have this event, because I can reach out to XYZ national brand who might have interest in women's basketball, but is Richmond a viable market for them? Or Richmond combined with the DC metro area, is that a viable market for them? And so that's a piece of the sponsorship puzzle that a lot of people don't really take into consideration, that these brands do have to take into consideration.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess the good news is that you've this isn't the first tournament women's basketball to take place at the Henrico Event Center, as the Atlantic 10 tournament was there last year.
Yeah, I mean, from a ticket standpoint, we definitely got some tips and thoughts from them. They have a different situation when it comes to sponsorship than we do, because they are part of a conference and thus have access to different contracts and situations, as opposed to us, who is an independent event not associated with a conference. So while they had some things built in and some things that a budget that they are privy to than we are, we definitely got some thoughts and some tips from them, definitely around ticket sales.
Yeah, well, that's great. So I guess it's what, December 19th through 21st, and
Yes.
this is, like you said, it's a showcase. There's not a semifinals final sort of format, right? Everyone just
Nope,
plays two
nope.
games
This is really
with it.
just teams that don't really get an opportunity to play against one another to come in and check each other out and put their best out there for their fan bases. We're, kind of 2 months out from the event, but they're moving along. People are inquiring, which is exactly what you want to see. Folks can go on to fortheculturehoops.com to get single day as well as weekend passes. We do have some VIP tickets available, but those are quickly going. So if you're interested in, having floor seats as well as access to our VIP lounge, you definitely want to get on and scoop those up as quickly as you can. But yeah, things are moving along and people are interested. The Richmond fan base is definitely doing its part, which we're happy to see. But yeah, we're 2 months out, so lots of runway out in front of us, and nothing would make me happier to say that it's sold out. But as the brand builder first, I see these individual ladies, and I'm just in awe of what they do and the individuals they are, and I'm just excited to be able to see them in person on the court.
Well, thank you, Francis, for joining us at Spiders Sound Off. And I know, speak for Porter as well. We can't wait for the season to get started, and we will certainly be there in December watching our Lady Spiders hopefully win a couple games.
Fantastic. Thank you for having me.
Well, that's it for today's episode of Spider Sound Off. This will be our last episode talking about practices and exhibitions or scrimmages, secret or open. We can't wait. Next week, we'll be talking about the first week of games, and then following that, talking about the results of those games. So we're glad to have made it through the summer and early fall. Hope you've enjoyed a lot of our preseason talk. Now we're getting to the season, and we can't wait. So until next time, this is Tom, and Porter will be traveling back soon, and we can't wait to talk to you about some real live action. See y'all later.
In your car, on your computer, or in your dream.